Hello, everyone. It's Kathya here, and thanks for joining me today. I have a card tutorial and an announcement about a fun collaboration blog hop. So, just a few days ago, I reached a 5,000 YouTube subscriber milestone on my channel, which is pretty awesome. So, thanks to all of you new subscribers. I really appreciate it. Rather than celebrate alone, my two crafty friends, Ardith and Jenny, are also going to celebrate with me because they also reached that same milestone with their channels. So all three of us have gotten together and we are hosting a video hop and even have some amazing sponsors who will be offering prizes along the way. So for those details, check the description box below on how to enter to win some of the fabulous prizes. Now let's start on the card. The card base of the Slimline card measures 8.75 inches by 7.5 inches and scored on the short end at 3.75. Now I left this in here because a lot of you have mentioned leave the bloopers in here to see how I'm scoring this. I haven't even started. I'm like, something's not right here. And then I realized I needed to flip it over so that the short end is the part I was going to score down the middle. And there you have it. So the finished card size is going to be 8.75 inches by 3.75 inches. I will not lie to all, but this was supposed to be a very simple card that turned into a nightmare. I really wanted to completely give up, but I put the project away. I came back to it the next day and it finally came together, but not without some challenges, which I'll share along the way. On screen are some alphabet die cuts called High Rise by My Favorite Things. And I love this font, but long ago I lost the letter Y, which is such a common letter. And I hate to part with this set, so I only use it when I know I don't need that letter. It is a retired set, unfortunately. I need 3 of the letter E to spell the word celebrate, so I'm using the letter F to figure out the spacing, and then I will cut down a piece of cardstock to a size that will help me gauge how I want to ombre ink blend the die cut letters. And I do this in advance of cutting the letters just so that I don't mess up and crinkle the letters once they're finally die cut. So you can see here, this is 1 3/4 of an inch. So I'm basically going to just create a guide for myself that will help me with the ombre ink blending technique. Now that I have the bottom line for a measurement to start with my letter dies, I'm going to put one line right up above so that I know that somewhere in between those two lines with that pen will tell me where I just need to blend my ink so I get that ombre look. I don't like ink blending individual letters because I don't find them to be even, but when you work with a large sheet of paper like this, it's a little bit easier to get a little bit more of control when you ink blend. So do you remember at the beginning when I told you this card turned out to be a nightmare? Well, I ink blended and I put two different colors together that I didn't like, so I didn't use that. So I just redid this. And I'm using some Catherine Pooler ink, and this color is called Aquatini, and I'm just dabbing it on a piece of paper towel just so I get the majority of that ink off of the ink blender brush. But this color is so gorgeous and it's saturated, and what I'm doing is going heavy-handed on the bottom portion and going lighter-handed on the top. Now it doesn't look perfectly smooth on this paper, but when this ink dries it blends beautifully, and I'm not looking for a smooth perfect blend. I'm looking for something with a little bit of gradation and color that will fade a little bit more when it gets to the top. When I first had this idea in mind for my card, I wanted the word celebrate to have the letters float freely behind the shaker card panel, but I couldn't figure out how to get those letters to stay in the order of the word so you could actually read it. So I aborted that whole thing, went to bed, thought about how I was going to redo this card, and after a lot of card surgery where I ripped pieces of cardstock off the back of the letters, I decided to come up with plan B. So here is my plan B. I did not discard those letters and the card pieces that I cut out, but I'm basically just putting these die cuts right up above that black line that I did with the drew with a pen, and they don't even have to be in alphabetical order or in order of the word itself spelled out correctly because I just am looking for the ombre, and so any portion of those letters, as long as the top is the top and the bottom is the bottom, I just cut them out. Because I did so much card surgery on the ombre die cut letters, and they were a little unstable after ripping the cardstock off the back, I decided to cut an additional set of the word celebrate in die cut letters in white to make them a little bit more sturdy. So I just adhered them to the back of each one of those. And I did not show this on camera or whatever, my camera stopped recording, but I wanted to let you know that I figured out a way to get all of these to sit really nicely in the word celebrate in the order so you could read it when it's behind the shaker card, and I will show that to you in just a moment. Okay, so here is how I got that word celebrate to stay all intact. I simply took a piece of overhead transparency, cut it to about a half an inch wide, and I adhered each one of those letters by lining them up so that that spells out the word celebrate. But now when it moves in the shaker window, you won't be able to see that acetate behind each one of those letters, and the word celebrate stays all together intact. So I love that idea. I'm glad how this turned out. So this was kind of like the happy portion of this card making adventure, and I was happy that this part turned out. Now, I do not have any rectangle die cuts this large, but on my brother's Scan and Cut, I just created a window frame that is about 1/4 of an inch wide, and I die cut it 3 times just so I had a little bit of stability, and I wanted my frame to match the color of my word die. So I just took that aquatine ink again and inked it up, and I love that color so much, and it turned out really nice. So it was a nice way to coordinate the color with the word die itself. So after I inked up that frame, that white piece that it cuts out from the frame on my die cut worked out perfectly to be the center backdrop. And I pulled out this older stamp set by Hero Arts, and I'm using the stars. And unfortunately, this part did not record. Remember I told you this card was the card from fill in the blank? The stars did not record properly when I stamped the stars. So all I did basically was do second generation stamping, which is to stamp your ink pad on the stamp itself, stamp on a piece of scratch paper, and then onto your project so that you get a lighter shade of the same color of ink. So there you see that in the background. Now here's another blooper I decided to leave in here to show you that this card was just becoming the bane of my existence. I'm putting on the double-sided adhesive tape, the foam tape, and do you notice what I'm missing on there? Yeah, I am missing the window film. So I had to yet rip this off again and then pull it off and do some card surgery and put on my piece of acetate, which I did here. Phew! Then I finally just trimmed off the edges of this thing. And I can kind of see a light at the end of the tunnel here because I was like, okay, this card is almost done. Almost done, Kathya, stick with it. So I did, and I'm just trimming off the excess here from the bottom of this card frame and on the side as well. So as I'm editing this video, I realized that some of my video, like the part you see right here, was recorded in slow-mo. So when I tell you this card went from bad to worse, it did. Then I have Butterfingers here, and you'll see I'm sitting there holding the card panel, and I'm like, what am I doing? I think I need some more coffee or maybe even something stronger to get through this whole thing. But luckily, when I centered this, it centered properly. The word celebrate fit in there nicely. I added some sequins from my stash, and I apologize, I don't know the name of these. And I was able to fit these on here. But while I'm editing, I'm like, why is this so slow? I had to speed this up, I'm not kidding, like 20 times. So once I got those sequins down, I added some colored beads that actually matched the font color and the ink color, the aquatine ink, which I love. And I put those in there. And then I tested it out and put that shaker window right on top. And oh my gosh, I was like, yay, this card is done. I don't have to do this card anymore. I don't have to look at it. And yes, it turned out cute, but guess who's going to get this card? No one, because I'm going to hang it in my office to remind me never to overthink something again. But here you go. All done. Isn't it pretty? I'm so happy. I hope you'll give this technique a try now that you've learned from my many mistakes and create customized word dies in a shaker by using a simple piece of transparency or acetate. And congratulations to Ardith and Jenny on their channel milestones and our fantastic sponsors. Last, thanks to each of you who've subscribed to our channels because without you all, none of this would be possible, so thanks. And thanks again for watching, and until next time, ciao for now.